Do not disturb.
Yeah. All right. Interview number 9. This is number 9, I think.
This is number 9.
It's either 9 or 8. I think it's 9.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I gotta do a 10th episode special. I don't know who it's gonna be. There's a 50th episode idea that somebody gave me. I don't remember who it was.
Is it Amanda Monaco?
No, it's... Well, that'd be awesome.
That'd be
no,
awesome.
it'd be my dad.
Oh, that's awesome.
But please state your name to the camera.
I'm CORA.
What do you do?
I play music. Play cello and guitar and bass. I play right now in Dress Better and MINGKO, and I do cello gigs. Oh, and with Antiphon. Yeah, I think that's it. And that covers guitar, bass, and cello.
Nice, that's great. So, I always like to start off these interviews by just asking people about their musical past, and it's funny, like I've known you for quite a bit now, probably like a year-ish or so.
It's been a while.
I don't actually really know about your musical past. That tends to be the case with a lot of people I interview. I don't actually know like how you all came up. So where did you first start with music? How old were you, and how'd that come up?
I started taking drum lessons when I was 6, and that was because my parents made my sister learn piano and she fucking hated it. So they were like, you don't have to do piano, but you have to do something. And I was like so anxious at that age, I like couldn't make decisions. So my mom decided on drums.
For you?
For me.
That's crazy.
And later she told me that it was because when she was growing up, she thought drummers were hot. So
that's awesome.
That's a great reason.
Yeah. So you started playing drums.
I started playing drums. I took lessons from this dude Scott Reeder, who's the drummer of a band called Fu Manchu.
Wait, what? You took lessons from... Yes, I know Fu Manchu. I fucking grew up listening to that band.
Really?
That's fucking crazy.
Dude, yeah.
You're talking about like the California stoner rock band Fu Manchu.
The stoner rock band Fu Manchu.
You took drum lessons from the drummer?
From Scott Reeder, yeah.
Wow.
He taught me like exclusively Led Zeppelin and Rush and Royal Blood and Muse and like that kind of shit. It was awesome.
That's fucking sick. Okay, we're on a great start here. That's crazy.
I can't believe you know that band.
Yeah, they're awesome. That band is fucking sick. Yeah,
they're really cool. I gotta hit him up. I gotta contact him. But
wow,
he was like the nicest dude ever. Like he would come over to teach me a lesson, and he would end up like playing with my dog and talking to my mom for like half an hour.
That's great.
Because he was just awesome.
That's great. So that's a pretty awesome first.
It was great.
Not many people have that much of a cool introduction to music.
Yeah.
So how long did those lessons last for?
I took lessons with him for like almost 10 years or something.
Wow.
I guess it was a long time. Like I was really playing drums like heavily for a lot of my early life, but now I don't play drums anymore.
Yeah. When did cello come in? Because that's when we didn't meet, but when I first heard about you, it was as a cellist. I heard about you playing with a few of my friends. So
yeah.
When did the cello come into play?
The cello, when I was like 10.
Wow.
I did cello for school.
Oh, okay.
Because I wanted to play bass, and my parents decided that that was too big. So the next best thing is cello.
That's really practical.
Yeah.
And it obviously took on because you ended up going to school for it. So at what point, was there a point where music became more of a lifestyle thing rather than just like this is something that I do like once a week with like a cool guy that plays in a band that has a funny name?
Yeah, exactly. No, like I think I took drums pretty seriously. I didn't practice a lot, but I learned shit kind of fast just because I think I cared about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started doing cello, there was like this guy named J.B. Weiner, this like violinist in California who like kind of took me under his wing and started teaching me like chamber music stuff.
Wow.
And that started getting more serious, and I was like, this just makes more sense to me as like as a path of like where my life should go. And I ended up getting really into chamber music and went to like an arts high school for classical stuff mostly. And I switched to playing upright bass in the jazz band for the last year.
Oh wow, you played in the jazz band.
Yeah, that was a weird decision.
Why is that a weird decision?
Because it was like while I was at that high school playing cello, like we were just doing like classical stuff, and it was cool, and I did a lot of chamber music shit, and I really believed that was like where I was gonna head for the rest of my life. And I went to like summer camps and did like, I don't know, the summer camps were good because we did like avant-garde stuff.
Yeah.
We also did like slightly more modern stuff, and it was really sick, and that was a good intro to that world. And then I did like a Berkeley 1 week thing.
Wait, which year? 2019?
No, earlier than that. Definitely earlier, like 17.
Okay,
maybe.
I did 2018.
Something
That was
like
my
that.
first one.
Yeah, it was like a string 1 week.
Oh, okay, cool.
So maybe it was the same time. But there was one night where there would be jams every night in a different style, and one of the nights was like free night, and I was like, I've never done that. And Eugene Friesen was leading it. He's like the head of the cello department, and he's fucking so cool. He's so crazy.
And that one night kind of changed your trajectory a little bit.
Dude, yeah, like a lot. I was like, oh my god, this makes so much sense to me. I just need to like do this a lot. And then from then on, like whenever I would practice, like I would shed for gigs, like if I needed to learn something specific.
Chamber music stuff?
That. Like chamber music stuff or like mostly orchestra stuff at that time. And then shedding bass to like do the jazz audition and whatever.
Yeah.
But like if I was practicing cello, I was doing free stuff. You know, I wasn't like going about it with structure. And if I was going about it with structure, it was like really general type of things, like a broad concept. And that that just like changed a lot of how I think about it. And I ended up, I was doing it all the time. So I was like, I'd rather just work on this path instead of like try to get better at performing written music. So then I ended up like applying for colleges. I just applied to NEC in Berkeley.
Yeah.
And MSM for upright. But that was stupid. I had played upright for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So.
And you ended up getting to Berkeley, obviously.
Yeah, I got into both.
Oh, you did? Wow.
And it was like, for NEC, it was like the contemporary improv program. And then for Berkeley, I thought I was going to be playing jazz cello for forever. And then I don't play cello very often now.
Yeah. So, so you going to an arts high school, like that makes sense for you just because like the music that you're into and like the type of stuff that you write is like I would hear somebody that's like 10 years older than us like writing this type of stuff usually because it's so like deep and entrenched in that whole world of study, and it's usually like people that are our age who are writing like crazy out music or doing crazy out things, like had a system like that to help foster that in some extent.
Yeah.
And so when you got to Berkeley, because it seems like you had a pretty like awesome musical like childhood.
Like, I did, honestly.
Yeah, like,
I learned like kind of everything I wanted.
Yeah.
It was really great.
When you got to Berkeley, did that fostering diminish a little bit, or was that a gateway for you to kind of go out on your own?
It was totally a gateway, because it was just like I just got introduced to way more stuff, and I think I walked into it thinking I'm gonna get introduced to way more stuff, and I want to be like a jack of all trades. I want to be able to do everything.
Yeah. And
I quickly learned that I actually don't care about that, and I would rather be good at the things I want to do.
I had the same exact experience.
Yeah. But it was really cool because I chose to go to Berkeley and not NEC because I wanted to study with Eugene Friesen, but that's like a long shot because he's like the head of the department.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. I didn't totally care. Like I knew there were other great professors here, but I got assigned to Nassim Al-Atrash, who had just started the same semester as me. Like he started teaching the same semester I started going to Berkeley, and he our first lesson, he was like, show me what you played for your placement audition and we'll decide what to work on. And I played I did like a transcription of Stefan Brown's solo cello version of Someday My Prince Will Come.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also did like a solo cello arrangement of like On Green Dolphin Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I finished and he was like, okay, so you like kind of know how to play jazz. Like if you want to get better, you can just, you know what to do. And I was like, yeah.
That's funny.
Pretty much.
That's awesome.
And he was like, okay, do you want to do like microtonal stuff? And I was like, yeah.
That's great.
Sure.
That's great.
So then I took lessons with him for 3 years on like primarily Macomb theory, and some like classical technique stuff because like my technique is kind of shoddy. It's just sort of like, yeah. I think the reason people thought I was a really good cellist at the beginning is because I was really concerned with tone right off the bat. So like people could play more in tune than me and faster than me and everything, but I sounded like a pro first, you know.
Yeah.
Just because I had the voice.
I remember like seeing this video of you playing the cello with like the strap. At some point, I remember seeing a video. It might have been at the BPC.
Yeah,
I think. But
is that the thing with Abby?
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah. I saw that video.
That was a funny video.
I think Abby showed me that video like one of the first nights I ever hung out with her. But I was like, whoa, like this kid's killing me. You know? I was like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But I kind of had a similar experience as well. Like I ended up taking lessons with David Tronzo. He was like the first teacher that I had, and like our first lesson, he was literally like, what do you want to do? Or I asked them to give me the weirdest teacher, like the weirdest guitar teacher, and they gave me him.
Yeah.
And in our first lesson, he like pulled out an Ornette Coleman chart and had me play along with it, like this obscure recording. But he didn't tell me that the recording started halfway through the chart. And he had me like figure that out like on my own for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, so I think we're gonna do stuff like this for a little bit. I was like, that sounds cool. So
yeah.
you end up at Berkeley and you're working on cello stuff and you're doing the things that you want to do.
Yes.
It sounds like, which is great because a lot of people like don't have that experience when they go to that school. Totally. It took me a little bit to like do what I wanted to do.
Yeah. I got really lucky with like the test outs.
Yeah. So one of the bands that you mentioned that you played in, and this is like how I first like actually met you, was your band Dress Better. And I'm just curious, you've mentioned before the like history of the band is like a little silly just because of the guitar that you use for it, because I was asking you about that, but I'm just curious, like how did that it's a great name also, it's a great band name. How did that come about, and how did you start writing music for that?
We like my first year at Berkeley, I was going to like house shows. I would go to like see Spoons, which like later became Ski Club. And,
me too.
And I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. Oh my god. And I was like, if I'm gonna be here, if I'm gonna be like at popular music school, I should like make music that's cool also.
Yeah.
So I should start like a band. And I had been talking to Matthew about the kind of style that I wanted to head in, and I was really obsessed with Tigran Hamasyan at that point. And I was like, I want something like that kind of like pulls from my more classical influences, but also the more avant-garde stuff, and also like heavier shit.
And Matthew is also on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I didn't listen to a lot of heavy stuff until like I kind of got into punk stuff a little bit before I got to college, but like barely at all. And when I got here, I got really tight with some people who showed me like I don't, you know, like the standard like Vane.
Yeah.
And,
like the hardcore,
yeah, exactly.
hardcore music.
I was learning what hardcore music was.
That's great.
And I was like, holy shit, you can like distort it.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. But so we were talking about that, and I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I want to do it right. So the summer before my second year, I bought a 7-string. And I texted Luke and Matthew and I said, guys, when we get to school, we're going to do rehearsal once a week. And we're going to jam for a while and figure it out. And then we're all going to start writing stuff for it. And then we did. We just started doing rehearsals right away. But it wasn't, like, for the first probably year, we just jammed. Like,
yeah, because I was going to say, like, I was doing the math in my head. I was like, wait, like, I feel like I would have, like, heard about y'all playing a show, like, earlier than, like, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it took me forever to book our first show just because we didn't have the material, and I started bringing songs in kind of near the end of that year, and it just like didn't totally land like the way that I wanted it to. It was hard to figure out what style. It was hard to figure out the style. Yeah, it just took me a lot of like trial and error. Like we've written, I don't know, I ended up becoming the person who wrote like all the material really, but like, well, like the main material, like there was always like, I can't write fucking keys parts. I wrote one drum part, and everything else was kind of like I gave Luke a general vibe, and he like, I mean, you know how Luke plays. It's a lot, in a good way. I just ended up Yeah, we like first year we didn't get anything, and then like maybe a year and a half into it or something, I met Gavi,
Yes.
and Gavi had been we had been like unknowingly like
Doing kind
listening
of the
to
same
each other's
thing.
music
Yeah.
for like the past 6 months. Like I had gone to some early Walk Me Home shows.
When it was just the solo stuff, or was this when they
no,
added the band?
when it was the band with like Jaden was on upright and they had like Gabe
Yes.
playing cello.
Yes, I
It was,
remember
like,
this. Yeah.
Yeah, it was super cool. And at the time, Nathaniel Barron and I were working on this band with Abby and Seb that we were calling Dublin Mudslide.
Oh my God! Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember. I've heard about this before.
We
Yeah.
were working on that, and wait, no, actually, I'm thinking of there was one iteration before that where instead of me being on bass, I was on cello, and Abby wasn't in it, and we had Luke Sorensen on bass.
Whoa,
And
that's crazy.
yeah, I think that one had a different name. Yeah, Nathaniel wanted to call it Chutzpah, and that one just never made it off the ground because it was so hard to get the cello to fit into like it was kind of hardcore,
Yeah.
like
It's hard.
hardcore, but I wanted it to be more prog, and Nathaniel
It was
wanted
hard
it to be
to.
more hardcore.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just- it was hard to fit into the style, but Gavi would. I later found out he told me he would like sit outside of our chutzpah rehearsals, like every time. Like we did it once a week at a regular schedule. in the
Because
same
Gavi was
room.
just happened to be there.
Yeah, he had a class in the same place, and he would leave the class and sit outside of our room
Wow.
and listen to the rehearsal. And
That's
I was
crazy.
like, holy shit, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
So we like, yeah, we found out we were really on the same page, and then we went to, like a get together at Viv's old place. There was like somebody's birthday party, I think, and then Gavi and I had a conversation where I was talking about like this like trail of thought that Matthew and I had been following for like 2 years that we didn't
The
know
band,
what was going
yeah.
on. No, different.
Oh, okay.
Taoism.
Oh.
we were like we were just talking about like the thing and like viewing statues from different angles and like just really getting into this like you just have to try. That's the only thing you have to do is try. And like there was way more to it. It just came up in
Yeah.
every single conversation we had for like the first 2 years of us knowing each other.
Mhm.
And I was telling Gavi about it, and he was like describing exactly the same thing, and I was like, holy shit, how do you know? And he was like, you should read the Tao Te Ching.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing. Which was cool. And like yeah, so then I started reading that, and that was a cool way to like expand the little bit of it that I had gotten.
Yeah.
So then once we had a conversation where we knew we were on the same page about music and also like life philosophy,
Yeah.
we Gavi set up a show with us because
Your first show was with Walk Me Home?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
Walk Me Home, Joyce, Dress Better, and the Keira Knightleys.
That's a bill.
It was
That's a
really,
bill.
really intense bill, and we played for 50 minutes.
Where was this?
It was on Wadsworth Street.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, it was like where like Namdi and
Yeah.
George and Tobias used to live.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, yeah, that was such a weird bill, but that was such a great first show.
Yeah.
That was so awesome. But that was the longest set we've ever played, and I
Yeah.
refuse to play anything over 30 minutes now.
So you start there and then you
Yeah.
start playing more and more.
Yeah, it still took a while to like book more gigs,
Yeah.
just because like I feel like a lot of people that play similar music to us don't know about us because we end up on weird bills.
Yeah, you
Like-
got that. It's kind of how I ended up finding out about y'all because I saw y'all play first for the MINGKO release show back at the Fourth Wall last year, back
Yeah.
in March of last year. And we had that class the previous semester. We had that taxation
Yeah, the
class.
tax class.
And so I remember you from there, and then
yeah,
I saw you playing that bill, and I was like, this is crazy. But at the same time, I was like, damn, like, I was like, why are they on this bill? Not in a bad way. I was just like, why are they on this bill? Like, this seems so, like, out of pocket for Abby.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Abby's style of music. And I think Clifford was the other band
yeah, it was
on that
cool.
bill.
Yeah.
So that's all. And I feel like a lot of the shows that I've seen you at, you have definitely, like, stuck out in a very good way. Just in that you're the only band on the bill that is doing, like, free improv, Anthony Braxton, John Zorn, adjacent stuff,
Yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's hard to work into that scene just because like I'm so not tapped in like socially or on
Yeah.
social media that it's just like if I see you at a show, that's great, and we'll be friends. But it's just like
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't really on the grind of like getting dressed better out there. I just wanted to play some shows.
I think though it's cool to see how kind of quickly like the band has grown in like recognition throughout this scene, because like a year ago it was like, I feel like that Fourth Wall show was kind of like a lot of people found out about y'all from that show, because obviously like it was the MINGKO release show, so there were people there, but like I remember like telling everybody that I knew, I was like, holy fucking shit, like I saw this band open for MINGKO and it was fucking ridiculous.
Thank
and
you.
I was like, and then I didn't see you for like another 3 months after that.
Yeah, I don't think we had any gigs like lined up after that.
But it's been kind of cool to see how recently like you guys have been slowly like gaining a following, like people come out to your shows and like people are excited about it, because it's really like hip music, and obviously it's great songs, but it's super, it is out there, and like it takes, you know, you do have to like focus on it, and you have to like pay attention to what's going on. So it's really cool to see that that type of music is reaching people, you know, that aren't me. You know?
It's super cool, yeah. And that was what I wanted when I was writing it. I wanted it to be like you're stuck watching this for the rest of the duration of this set.
The thing that like the thing that really caught me at the Fourth Wall show was I think at that time you had started playing, which we'll get to in a minute, but the set was the EP that you guys just put out, I think, by then.
Yeah.
Because I remember you played Too Much. That was the first song, I think.
Yeah.
But you got to the interlude part where Matthew does the like the ticking noise on the keyboard. Because I was like, oh, like that was a cool song. And then Matthew started doing that, I was like, whoa, this is out there. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So getting onto that, so you guys just put out an EP.
We did.
When we had a release show for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thanks to Chase for booking that show.
That was a crazy show. That was a crazy show.
That was a crazy show. That was really funny.
But I'm just curious, like what was the process like for recording that? Because I know it took a while. Like we had talked when you started playing with MINGKO, that was when you were kind of in the throngs of like working on it, and I would ask you like how it's going, and you'd be like, ah.
Yeah.
And
that is how it was going.
And the way that you were talking about it, I was like, oh, like maybe it just like won't even like get done, because it seems like it's getting really difficult, and it's really cool that like, oh, it's like already out, you know. I feel like. But how does it feel for you? Like, is it crazy that it's out already? And like, how long did this take you? You know?
Yeah, it's super crazy that it's out. I really thought it wouldn't get done, because it was just such a mental hurdle of like I didn't know if I didn't know if I could do it. I just didn't know if I believed it was possible to finish something like that.
To finish something that, song structure wise, or more like mental toll, like
to get the recording out of that kind of thing and have it like communicate all the ideas that are present,
get the thesis statement
exactly. So yeah, I wrote all of those songs in like December, January of like
2023
December, yeah, exactly. And we played like a really bad gig at Cuck that December where we premiered like 2 of those songs, and that was like the angriest I've ever been. I was so mad about how poorly it went, and it was totally my fault, because literally the night before I was like, guys, if there's ever a show for us to not be sober, it's this one.
Yes.
And that was a terrible decision. That was so stupid. That was like the worst. That's the worst set I've ever played. I will never forget that shit. It was so bad. We missed every transition. That was so embarrassing. And I was just pissed. And after that, I was like, I have to write better shit. This has to. And I became really obsessed with this idea of like, I want to write songs where the ideas are so strong that no matter how shitty we play it, it's gonna come across. You know.
That's a really good way of putting.
Yeah, just I wanted it to work no matter what. Yeah. So I just started writing, and it ended up being this thing where it was like a really specific flow of songs. Like we don't really switch out songs, partially because I haven't written new material in a long time, but also because like,
it flows so good.
Everything is like in the place I want it to be exactly. Like it would be really hard to substitute it. And then I wrote all of that in the span of like I guess December to like March or April, and then in that period we were also recording it and we were pretty much done recording all the basics by like May or June of 2024.
Yeah.
And then summer started, and I stopped taking my antidepressants, so I stopped working on it. I just like
that'll do it.
totally dropped the fucking ball, and I took like 5 or 6 months off of it. Like I would open the sessions every once in a while, but I did like virtually no work on it. Like I went back recently and listened to the second song, Shit Talk. Like there's a version from March that sounds almost exactly the same as it is on the album.
Wow.
And Homebody was finished in May. Like I did like minor tweaks after that. So those two were like pretty much there, and everything else was like, I don't know, doing the first one too much like scared me so bad, because that was like the one that everybody loved at live shows,
and you wanted to make sure that it came across.
Yeah, and I didn't know how to do that in the recording. Like I didn't know how to get that like impact, but I think it. Yeah, I think the ideas came across.
I'd say it did. It. Yeah, I remember putting the CD in my car the day after that show. I flew off my bike. Did I tell you this story? What? I thought I left the CD at my house, and I reached in my guitar case pocket to grab it, and I hit a bump, and I flew down a hill off my bike.
Oh my god!
Because I thought I had forgotten the CD, because I was so excited to listen to it. But it was still there.
Wow. And
it survived. And
that's awesome.
So I put it in, but
you're a real fan.
It really, but it really like, it comes right out the gate. It's like, this is a loud ass fucking awesome record. I think it really came across well.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, so you take a break from it from the summer, and then I remember like, when we started playing in MINGKO, like at the end of the summer, you were like, yeah, like I think it's gonna come through. And then like end of fall, you were like, I'm in it right now, and that's when you did most of the work, I'm assuming.
Yes, that totally is. Like I don't know, like even when in like September and October I kept saying that I was working on it, and I totally wasn't. It was still like
you're just doing the it's coming.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, if I tell people, then it has to happen, and that's totally not how it works.
That's good.
And I like, it was just it was like 5 months of like, I was just so paralyzed by like the idea of doing it wrong that I didn't even start it. And then I eventually like was working on it slowly, and every time I worked on it I felt better about it. So then by the time of like December, I think at the end of November on is like where I did most of the work. And like
it seems like it came through pretty quickly once you started like really getting into it. I mean,
exactly,
because you had all the basic tracks, but it still takes a while to mix things. But you did that pretty fast, considering how like crazy the music is. You did it pretty fast. I feel like.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a big process of just like, I needed to learn how to trust whatever my abilities were at the moment. Like part of it is the idea of like, of course when you finish it, you will by default be able to do better next time. So you just want to keep doing better and not release it until it's perfect, but it's just like, this is just how it is. And I got to a point where I was like, I'm so tired of working on these songs. Like I need to work on other material. So it was just like, as long as the ideas are there, I don't really care about the quality or the fidelity. Like it needs to exist somehow. And then
kind of goes back to what you were mentioning before, when you and Matthew and Gabi would talk about these like Taoist ideals, basically just doing something, just getting it out there.
Exactly. Just doing it is like totally, and that's the thought process behind like the name Dress Better. Like sometimes people will come up at shows and they'll be like, oh, is that like a criticism on the scene? Are you trying to make a statement? And it's like, I wear this outfit every single day.
I think like like this You Bet shirt like is specifically linked into my mind that you wear a You Bet shirt.
Shout out You Bet. I wear these jeans. I wear these jeans all the time. But yeah, it's not supposed to be like, you guys dress like shit, I think you should dress better. It's like, if you have the energy, if you have the ability to put in the effort to dress a little bit better like today, then do it. Like it doesn't matter the result, like just the idea of like, do the work without worrying about the result, I guess.
So the EP came out, and it's on Bandcamp right now.
It's on Bandcamp.
Eventually we'll be on, and we were talking, you've had some difficulty with streaming services.
Yeah, CD Baby is fucking me over. It's been up for like 5 or 6 weeks in there, and they're still like inspecting it.
Yeah. And you are playing a few shows here and there, but
yeah.
Another thing that I want to ask you about really quick is also recently, we have both been playing for Salem June, who I interviewed.
Yes.
Yeah. Previously, and you're producing for her.
Yes, I'm
now.
helping her produce the stuff.
And I'm curious, what has that been like for you? Because I never knew that you I knew that you worked on your own music, but I didn't realize that you also did it for other people occasionally as well. And I'm just curious. I mean, we've obviously I've been here to record stuff, but how's it been for you? Are you enjoying working on other people's music?
Yeah, it's really great. I think that's a big part of why I'm not writing and working on my own stuff so much now. It's just it's really fun. I'm really enjoying it, and it's funny because I didn't really work on other people's stuff for a long time. Partially because I offered and people wouldn't take me up, and partially because sometimes people would suggest something to me and I'd be like, no, I gotta finish this thing first or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just I just wasn't handling it super well. But
do you find obviously you haven't written new stuff to my knowledge at least recently, but do you think that once you're finished with however many songs it is you're working on with Sam, do you think that this process will help you figure out what you want to do next for writing stuff, whatever it may, Dress Better or not even Dress Better stuff, just anything, do you feel like it's going to impact it in some way?
I think it will, yeah. And I think I have some ideas that I want to pursue. I've talked to Matthew and Sean about sort of Meredith Monk's approach. She just always had an ensemble that she was writing for, and she was writing for that ensemble,
Interesting.
And
so in this case, you're talking you're always writing for, let's say the ensemble's Dress Better, but you're always writing for it and only thinking about that one thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that just works well for me. I think I get paralyzed when I have too many options.
I have that sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm playing in 6 bands currently. Playing in 6 bands and writing for 3 of them, constantly. It is hard. Sometimes I have this thing where I'll be writing a song and I predetermine which group it's for, and sometimes that ends up making the song harder to finish just because it's oh, I have to write it for this one group, but it can't be in the others, know. So I guess it would be nice to have just one thing to focus on, not have to worry about, oh, but if it doesn't work for this thing, maybe it could work for this thing or this thing, having to make it work for the thing that you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. I want to build this thing, and the materials are just whatever band is in front of me.
Yeah. So 2 more questions, one of which is related to how we really started to get to know each other. Is you started playing bass for MINGKO.
I did.
Over the summer. You replaced Shell, who is currently in Nashville.
Yes.
And was your first show with MINGKO the outdoor cup show? Yes, that's where we met.
It was really hot and sweaty.
Yeah, it was awesome, and my guitar broke, or I broke a cable during that one song.
Yeah, your pedal totally gave
died,
out,
and I had to go straight into the amp. That was a great time. But I'm curious, how has it been playing bass? Because you play electric 6-string bass, which is really unique.
Yes.
Boston thing. A lot of Boston bands do that.
A lot of people have it.
Yeah.
It's cool. I really like it.
Yeah, but how's it been taking the backseat, sort of learning people's music? Because it sounds like you haven't done that in a while, being with Dress Better and producing for other people.
That's true.
How's it been learning other people's music and being in a band, not being the leader,
Yeah, it's really nice because I've done some gigs, whenever Abby leaves town, I'll get some of Abby's gigs. I filled in with VVN, filled in with Matthew Drake one time, and just it's fun to do that and learn all the material and get familiar with it, but being doing the material so regularly and letting it evolve and sit more in your hands is way different. And I really like playing bass.
I can see that you like it. The few times, I think we've played 3 gigs together in MINGKO, because for viewers, whoever you are, I am not in MINGKO. I am a sub. I sub for their normal guitar player. But the gigs that we have played and the gigs that I've seen, you really you dig in. You're playing with a pick. You got the
Yeah.
distortion pedal
I'm
on. It
ready to
seems
go
like you
hard.
really. I love playing bass too, but
Yeah.
it seems like it really is. It's a place for you to shine a little bit, you know.
Totally. And it's like, I mean, that was why I like got into playing like upright. Like I really liked the role of bass.
Yeah.
And that was part of why I liked playing cello and like string quartets so much. It's like the same kind of function. And it just like, it's nice to provide the foundation and feel like you're making the context.
You're making the context, but you don't have to necessarily do as much as like a lead soloist.
Yeah, exactly. Your
One
job is to do
small-
it right.
One small thing on the bass can be is like the equivalent of a huge thing on most other like melodic instruments, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to be decisive.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
So that's really cool. And then yeah, my like last kind of official question, and I always ask this at the end of the interviews, but you know, we've mentioned a lot of names here, but is there anybody that you want to shout out whose music has really been inspiring to you, or like helping you out, or just like that you like to listen to, that is in this music scene that we inhabit, you know?
Yeah.
You mentioned Matthew Lewis Drake, who
Matthew Lewis, Moses
I
Drake.
think has been the most mentioned person in this series. I think
Yes.
at least 5 of the interviews that I've done, Matthew has been somebody that people, when I ask this question, people are like, Matthew Lewis Drake, which I will probably get Matthew on here at some
Matthew
point.
is amazing. I'm Matthew's biggest fan. We'll fight people on that.
You want to fight me?
No, yeah, I love Matthew. One of my best friends. And Sean. I mean, Sean just. Oh yeah, I play bass and glue.
Oh, you played. I didn't realize you
Yeah,
played bass and glue. Okay, that's funny.
I forgot about
Another
that. We've
great-
only played 2 gigs.
Yeah,
But,
another great band.
yeah, Sean just dropped the album. Canned by Glue is
Fantastic
super
record.
super great. Yeah, the glue stuff is really great because it's just like it's fun to see Sean's influences because like I've known him for like 7 years or something.
Yeah.
So like I know his influences really
and see
well.
them come to life.
Yeah,
finally.
exactly, and how he's interpreting them and digesting them is super cool. But yeah, I mean I love MINGKO and Ski Club. I loved them before I played with MINGKO. Kai Burns. I'm
Yeah.
such a big fan of Kai Burns.
Yeah.
Like there's a 3-song thing on Bandcamp that I go back and listen to all the time. Statue Band. Just because Nico's a great friend, and also like the music is so powerful.
I had to
It's
learn.
So impactful.
I had to learn that set in the car. I learned 3 statue songs in the car, like not even with a guitar.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was pretty wild. I told Nico, I was like, that was one of the most intense musical experiences I've had in a long time on a stage.
That is really tough. Yeah, no, I mean like KO Queen,
Yes.
Dinos, Cicadia, that scene.
Yeah.
All really cool people. Tilt, they're not really from here, right?
They're not from here,
I
but
just
they're
love
just
when they come and play.
they're just a bust. I literally like, because we're going on tour with them, Cuck tour, self promotion, but you know, Ski Club's going on tour with them, and
Yeah.
I was talking with them the last time we played together, which I think was in the fall maybe, and Mike the singer was like, yeah, it's so funny, like we are not a Boston band, yet we are like the most popular band in Boston.
Yeah,
I was like, yes,
seriously,
it's
yeah.
really funny.
Yeah, them and like the Tourniquet, I feel. the
Yeah,
same
they
way about,
always,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, they're really, really good bands.
Yeah.
I gotta think through a couple different like scenes. I mean, like Viv, like VVN, Easy, Diz. They're all good friends. They all play like crazy. Oh my god. Who
So
else?
many people. Yeah.
There's so many people to remember. This is terrible.
That's a great list, though. That's a great list. If you want to stop there, if you want to keep going, if you want to give a few
I
more.
don't want to stop there because I want to. Oh well, I really appreciate Maya no Kaya and like Evan Haskin and Boris. I don't know Boris's last name. But like the people in that free scene, and then that overlaps with like Nurse Joy.
Yeah.
Just because of like I know Jeremiah is in the free stuff, and you know like KO Queen.
Yeah.
And everyone that was at that show that we were just talking about, Snuff Hustler.
Cambridge Community Center.
Yeah.
Snuff Hustler.
I still haven't seen Film and Gender, but I have a feeling that they're really good.
They're crazy. They're like, it's the
Yeah.
most, in the best way possible, it is like music made by cave people, but like in the best way possible. It's so
That's
awesome.
great.
It's so awesome.
That's really cool.
It's like the most bare bones you can get with punk rock.
Yeah.
And goes fucking crazy.
That's super sick.
Yeah.
Who else have I seen that's really good? Exit 18.
Yeah.
Is that their name?
Yeah.
They're really, really sick. They remind me so much of Muse and like all the good Muse songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Wolfer.
Yes.
Lady Beetle.
Yes. That whole like the like, I don't want to call it shoegaze, but folk gaze.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
It's a really cool set of people. Yeah, I don't know. There's too many.
It's a lot of great music.
There's just too many. Yeah.
Speaking of great music, so as you know, we have to make music.
We have to make music.
We have to make music.
Okay.
So
get the cello.
we're going to play free. You on the cello, me on CORA's very, because I didn't feel like setting up an amp. No, I don't use a pick. You know me. Come on. But I didn't feel like setting up an amp, so I'm using this very funny Fender acoustic, which you actually recorded the Dress Better EP on, right?
Yeah, all the acoustics are that guitar. I really like that guitar. I just love the small body sound. It's like, I got that thing for like $100. It's very like...
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna.
Is that
play
one
free.
in? That might be in the weird tuning.
It's in the weird tuning. I'm just playing it. My audition.
Oh man.
Oh no! Did it get out of tune?
Yeah, I got out of tune. That sounded bad, but I think it's okay.
Congratulations, because this is a one-take interview show.
Yeah. Okay, well this is gonna take me a second, I think.
You got it.
Oh, fuck me. Okay, this is gonna take me a minute.
You got it. Here, I'll start.
I haven't done this in forever, too.
Behind the scenes, folks. This is what playing a stringed instrument does to a motherfucker.
The most stressful experience of my life.
Yes.
Is resetting the C string.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, I guess. I was gonna say, I'll take the moment to explain that I tune a little bit differently because of something I learned from Nassim.
How do you tune?
Just everything is the same, C, G, D,
Yeah.
and then the A string is a G. So these are just an octave apart.
Ooh, okay.
And it gives you a fourth on the top
Yeah.
string that works. I think it works a lot better for
It's
like,
a fourth and a fifth?
Yeah.
Or fifth and a fourth.
fifth, fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think having a fourth on the top works way better for like modern language.
Yeah. Alright.
Okay,
Shall we?
and then I'm not gonna fuck it up this time. There's so much to do with this instrument.
Yeah. It's worth it though.
It is worth it. Yeah.
Alright.
I'm indecisive.
Almost. Alright, ready?
Yeah.
Let's kick it. Yeah. Thank you so much. That was so much fun.
Thank you. That was a silly one.